Hello, hello, hello again, you guys. Now, we've been talking to some beautiful Black creative women and Black creatives and Black business women. Today, we're going to speak with Jasmine Houston. Fashion is a universal language, yet for too long, size inclusivity has been overlooked by for individuals with dwarfism. Today, we're speaking with Jasmine Houston, a trailblazing designer creating bold and avant-garde designs that prioritize style and accessibility. From her early days at NC NC A&T to launching her game-changing brand, Jasmine has been proving that fashion should empower all bodies. So, without further ado, let's welcome Jasmine to the stage. Hello, Jasmine.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
I am awesome. I am so awesome. So tell us what sparked, what inspired you to create a size inclusive fashion line for adults with dwarfism?
Okay, so from about I want to say middle school, end of middle school, I knew I wanted to do something in fashion, and I wanted to have my own collection. But it wasn't until college. I was like a freshman or sophomore one day. I was sitting on a bench, and it was like before I understood what God's voice sounded like. It was like God told me, "Okay, you need to include sizes for adults with dwarfism," and it just stuck with me. So that's how I came up with the idea, and I just went from there.
Wow. Now, how did your education at NCA&T sort of influence your approach to design and business?
It had a lot to do with it. Actually, I learned a lot, and it wasn't like a design school. So we learned the basics. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until I want to say after I really got the real world experience that I really start to figure out, okay, what is it going to take to do this, and all the other difficult stuff. It wasn't until I got real world experience.
Okay. Now, what was that turning point in college when you realized that designing for adults with dwarfism was your actual calling?
I saw. Well, I was. I want to say it was two females on my campus. They had dwarfism, so I would see them, and I followed one of them on social media, and several times she was like, "I can't really find clothing in my size." So every time I would see her post something like that, I was like, "Okay." That was one of my motivations. Seeing other people her size and stuff talk about how it's not inclusive and things like that, and the lack of inclusivity from
Yeah.
other brands.
Okay. Now, how did you navigate the lack of industry references while building your brand? And what key discoveries did you make along the way?
Oh no, that was that was the hard part. um I asked all my professors, like just random people in the fashion industry who've been doing it all their lives, and nobody had a clue what to do. So I just decided to just start by thinking. Basically, I met with my model now, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. And so it was a lot of trial and error. I made a whole bunch of patterns and outfits, and I finally got to one that fit. And so I made a whole bunch of stuff in her size, tried it on. It was just really trial and error until I got the hang of it. It wasn't till the real turning point was I started off a manufacturer. And so they helped me a lot with how to figure out how to do it. So we were just winging it. And then we got to sizing that we thought would fit. And then
Hmm.
I ended up having to stop working with them. They basically, I could make 50 of each piece, the MOQs, and they went up to I had to do, I think, 300 of each piece. So I had to stop working with them and do it on myself. And that was when
Yeah.
I really figured out I was forced to figure out how to do it by myself. So it was a lot of trial and error. 'Cause it was so hard, but nobody knew. So I think a lot of it was downloads from God, because it's hard to explain how I even came up with this. So I think a lot of it has to do with like God, because it was hard.
Okay. Now, what feedback from customers has reinforced why your work is necessary in the fashion industry?
So when I started posting on social media and people start to find me, everybody was like, "Oh, this is so great. I can't find anything in my size. I've never seen this before." So that right there alone, I would say, because just the feedback of people in that community and other people not in that community who just can't find clothing.
Okay. Now, what has been the most emotional moment for you since launching your brand?
I would say it was around October of last year. So first I started with all pieces that would stretch. It just made the most sense at the time. And then around October, there was a corset I was wanting to make. And I was like, okay, I know I can make this in my size, but the hard part is going to be making it in the smaller sizes. And so I made it in my size perfectly fine. And on the first try, I got it right in the smaller people's sizes. And that right there blew me, because working with fabric doesn't stretch with different body types.
Yeah.
The brain cells. And when I did it in the first try, I would say that was the most pivotal and emotional point so far, because it just shocked me that I could do it, and on the first try.
Oh, well, you did it. You did it. Okay, you did it. What are the biggest fit and functionality challenges in creating clothing for adults with dwarfism that mainstream designers often overlook?
I would say I would start with the legs, because some people's legs are bold, some more severe than others. So that right there, I would say, would be the hardest issue to fix. Well, not fix, but include for a vast majority of people, because everybody's a little
Body shape
different.
is
But
different. Yeah.
yeah, so that's, yeah, I would say that right there would be the toughest part I found so far.
Okay. Now, many designers struggle to balance creativity and practicality. How do you approach designing for both aesthetics and functionality?
So that is something I keep in mind, especially with the smaller sizes, because from what I found out, the research I have done, a lot of certain closures, like certain buttons types, or certain zippers, the placements or the types are harder than the average adult to use. So I really have to consider stuff like that when I design, because or even like the width of the neck hole,
Yeah.
So I start with that first, and then I focus on like fabric prints to add more to like aesthetically pleasing, even if it's a simpler piece.
Okay.
So
Now,
yeah.
why do you feel like dramatic sleeves have become a signature part of your work, and how do they reflect your vision as a designer?
Um, it was one day. It was about, I want to say, I was planning what I was going to release for my birthday, and I saw these sleeves. I kept seeing these big dramatic sleeves on the internet, and I was like, "Oh, I really want to do this." So I got some of my textbooks and did a little trial and error, and I was like, "Oh, I really love this." So ever since then, excuse me, I've been really big on like big sleeves. I really like if you've seen A Different World, Whitney's
Mhm.
wedding.
Yep,
Oh, I
yep.
used to have those sleeves, and I just love stuff like a little
The
vintage.
Okay, the big bell sleeves that she used to
Mhm.
have back in the day. Yes, girl. I grew up with A Different World. You got to make me tell my age, okay? Mhm. So, what's the hardest lesson you learned in your first year of business, and how did you overcome that?
Um, I would probably say I had a lot of big ideas, but not the budget. So I had to figure out how I was going to achieve these goals, and what I really wanted to do within my budget. Now, I also I also think that God had a big role in this, because how I was able to afford what I really wanted to do,
Mm-hmm.
with the job I was working at the time when I first started, it doesn't make any logical sense. So that was probably the best way, because I was able to do a lot with very little. So I think that's been the hardest thing so far.
Okay. All right.
Adrian.
Now, what are common misconceptions about fashion for little people, and how do you work to change those narratives?
That it has to be that clothing that is functional with people with a bit disability, excuse me, doesn't look appealing or is cute. Because there is still ways you can include functionality and it's still being trendy in itself.
Okay. Okay. Now, as you transition into avant-garde fashion, what
Mhm.
new challenges and creative risk are you embracing, especially, and are you doing this for people with dwarfism, or are you working toward more towards the avant-garde fashion for for regular sized people?
So it's a lot of trial and error. So far, it's been going really well. And I would say my main focus is the smaller people, but I'm trying to keep it, even. Like what
That's
I do for them, do
number.
for the average size too. So yeah, but it's going really great. I want to do more like costuming for like theater roles or like movies. So that's where I'm trying to go now.
And that would be really cool, especially with the rise of, I guess people with dwarfism, or
Hmm.
who suffer from that type of disability. They're more in a lot of roles. You got and I'm familiar, and they're on TV too now. Like
Right,
TLC
yeah.
has several shows about it, so you become more familiar with them behind the scenes. And then when you see them in a movie like Seven Dwarfs,
Hmm.
the action the action one was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, where the dwarfs actually fought. All of those little dwarf guys that were in that movie, I was very familiar with them already because of their
Hmm.
fame from reality TV.
Yes, yes. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do.
All right, girl. Okay. Now, you work in pioneering. Your work is pioneering in its niche. Have you faced resistance from the industry, or had to challenge outdated mindsets any?
Um, Surprisingly, no, I haven't. I am kind of surprised, but I haven't.
Okay, but how do you? Well, let's answer this. How do you balance trend awareness with your goals, creating timeless, accessible pieces for your clients?
Well, most of the time before I release something or before I start designing, I'll ask like a group of people who I feel would actually purchase my stuff. I'll ask
Mhm.
them and see what do they want to see, what can't they find, stuff like that. I do little small focus groups,
Okay.
and then that's where I start.
Okay. Now, how do you want your customers to feel when they wear your designs?
I want them to feel like they have two commas in their account and they are just the best thing, the best thing walking. I want it to be like an experience because I like to dress up. And
Okay.
I feel my best when I'm dressed up, or have like my favorite outfit on. So yes.
Okay. What are some personal experiences or some stories that have influenced the way you design your clothes?
Um, that's a good question. I would say um a lot of pieces that I would see that just weren't in my budget at the time. I would try to recreate those, but not copy, but make it my own.
Hmm.
So I would say that has a lot to do with it. Yeah, just like these really expensive pieces that I really want that, but it's just not, it's not reasonable. So I would say, yeah.
Okay, now let me ask you this. What are some fashion icons that have sort of inspired maybe you to be a better designer, or have inspired some of your designs that you do for people with dwarfism?
I would say it's between Tiana Taylor. I love the way she dresses, and the brand Balmain. The
Okay.
details in their stuff I absolutely love. I love like the little details and stuff. So I say both of those influence me a lot.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna have to check out some of your work to see if I see Tiana Taylor in some of these pieces. Because yes. Now, are there any cultural influences, whether it's from African designers or global fashion, that sort of shape your perspective as well?
Well, actually, the other day I started this designing. It's not up yet. Designing this like a small collection inspired by like African fabric and things like that,
Ooh.
culture. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, so I think that's going to be really cool. Something I haven't done yet.
Okay, okay. Well, you have to keep us posted on that part too. So, yeah. Now, how do you educate your customers in the industry about size inclusivity beyond just selling clothing?
So on my social media pages, I'll do either like a small video or reel just on like information, like what is it, how can you get it, things to not say when approaching someone with dwarfism, like stuff like that. Try to educate people. So that's helped a lot because it's a lot of people who actually come up to me and tell me that it's a whole bunch of stuff they didn't know until I said something about it. So that's the main way so far I've done.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. What does the phrase fashion as a revolution mean to you in context to your brand?
I feel like, well, my goal is to change the fashion industry and make it more inclusive. Not necessarily for every brand to do it, but more brands who are inclusive for people with even like different types of needs. Like there was, I want to say this is, I want to say it's a clothing brand, if I'm not mistaken. They have clothing like for children with autism,
Mm-hmm.
like different type of things built in, a certain type of fabric that doesn't like
Sensory,
yeah,
yeah.
like stuff like that. I think it should be more brands that are inclusive of people with differences.
Oh, people with disabilities. I love that.
Mhm.
I love it. Now, what advice would you give to your younger self about starting in this industry and starting business?
I would have to say I'd probably tell myself, stop stressing, you're gonna figure it out. Because I stressed it first because a lot of things happened to try to prevent me from getting here. And I was like, oh my goodness, how's this gonna happen? But I would tell myself, don't stress.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, looking ahead, what is the biggest goal for your brand in the next 5 years, and what legacy do you want to leave?
I would say in the next 5 years, I really want to open up my own manufacturer
Okay.
and produce all my own stuff. I want to add clothing this for like tall people. I've been hearing that a lot lately. Like their pants are always flooding, the
Too
sleeves.
short. Too short. Yes. Yes.
So I want to broaden out into, more size friendly sizes that you don't find every day.
Yeah, the outsizes, because
Mhm.
I'm a average. I'm not even gonna say I'm an average girly. I'm about 5'9", 5'10", and I struggle with the length of my pants as
Oh,
well. So yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So, you end up buying a bigger size or buying the boot cut so it looks like
Hmm.
it's longer. Yeah, but like I was watching Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl and I say, oh, look at that little short person right there with those jeans just dragging the ground. I could never wear boot cuts like that.
Right. That's a problem too.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of brands that have tall people friendly clothing.
Yeah, it's not. Well, I look forward to you making that, okay? Especially if you have some gowns and some dresses.
Mm-hmm.
I love long dresses, and
I do too.
as a moderately tall female, the dresses that are supposed to be maxi cut, that are supposed to drop all the way down to the ground, come to my ankles. So
Right.
listen, I'm going to drop off the screen for a moment, but what I'm going to do is leave you on, and I want you to tell people where they can find you, your social media, your website, all of that, so that they can check you out and check out some of your fashion as well.
Okay.
All right, awesome.
Okay, so all of my socials are the Jasmine Houston collection. Jasmine is Jasmine and Houston Houston. My website is the Jasmine Houston collection.com. And yeah, I think that's all for now. Yeah, my socials and website.
Girl, you went quick. I was trying to put the website. I spelled the website wrong and everything. Let me fix this. I was typing too fast for you. I was expecting you to just, give out a million different social media sites.
Oh, yeah, I try to keep it simple.
Listen, you guys, I put our website going across the bottom of the screen, the JasmineHoustonCollection.com. Please, please, please go check out Jasmine and all of the wonderful things that she has coming up and the beautiful things that she's doing just to do inclusivity in the fashion industry. And we all know how hard it is to break into the fashion industry, especially just for different shapes, different sizes, different heights, different colors, different everything. So she's definitely what we like to call a fashion disruptor. So she's not just creating pieces, and she's not out here just designing clothes. Jasmine is in fact a fashion industry disruptor. She's building a movement. And as she expands into evening wear and bridal couture, her work is setting a new standard for adaptive, stylish, and empowering fashion. To explore her latest designs and to support this revolution, visit the JasmineHoustonCollection.com. It's going across the bottom of your screen right now, and we'll provide you with all of her website links and social media on the articles that will be posted to our digital platform as well. Again, thank you so much, Jasmine, for joining us. And thank you, you guys, for another creative Black woman, for sticking with us on that. I love this series that we're running. So if you know of any creative Black women or Black business women that you'd like to see highlighted on our platform, please don't forget to drop me a DM, a message, or anything. But go check out Jasmine and everything that she's doing in the fashion industry today. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening.